You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
On this episode, we talk about things. It's 2021. No rules. It's Apathetic Enthusiasm.
It is Apathetic Enthusiasm with your hosts, Brandon and Travis, where we bring you up-to-date information about our lives. Today we want to start off with Travis. Travis, why don't you tell us what you've been up to in the past 2 to 3 weeks, including Christmas and New Year's?
Brandon, there's no way I'm going to take you seriously for the entirety of this podcast while you are wearing the mask from a Twilight Zone episode that I don't know the name of.
It's okay.
I'm
just going to say no change. No change. The episode is called it was like a secret world of beauty or something like that. But no, Eye of the Beholder. Eye of the Beholder is yeah, the classic.
That's probably the first like Twilight Zone reference I ever got, but I think it was due to an SNL sketch and not and not the show itself. Anyway, welcome everybody to Apathetic Enthusiasm. I am Travis. He is Brandon. It's 2021. We are already late in bringing you a new podcast. We missed Monday. I've had a crazy week, but we couldn't let the week go by. So we are streaming live on twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm on Friday night, bringing you a brand new podcast.
Brand new podcast. We don't record on Friday nights, and I don't know why. I think we didn't. We have never really subscribed to the Friday night podcasting because we want to do it at the beginning of the week or like over the weekend is how it started, and then release it at the beginning of the week so we can have some consistent. So people driving to and from work, they can be like, oh, you know what? Oh, there's a new episode. Oh, I can listen to this as I'm driving. But if you record it on Friday, then it's Saturday, and then there's Sunday, and then all this really hard hitting, up to date, like, ooh, we just saw Batman versus Superman in the theater tonight, and we need to talk about it right now, and you need to hear about it now. Some of that's lost. It's lost in the sauce.
We were always so eager to be, first in with the hot takes about that latest movie that came out this weekend or that show that premiered or whatever. So we were always trying to be the first to do it. And then once we started doing Rick and Morty, it was like, all right, it comes out on Sunday night. Give us a day to watch it. We got to release episodes by Tuesday. Tuesday already feels late sometimes. But this isn't Interdimensional RSS. This is Apathetic Enthusiasm, where
That's right.
We just talk about things that we like. We don't have a hard set of topics tonight. I have a loose collection of things that we discussed throughout the week over Messenger. But if you wanted to discuss stuff with us throughout the week and maybe provide us with topics that you think we should discuss on a future episode, you can follow us on Twitter. Yes, we are still allowed on Twitter at Apathusiast. You can follow me at Jugglemino. He is at Barnyard Cruise. Facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show, or send us an email, apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram, apathetic_enthusiasm. And then on the web, apatheticenthusiasm.com is where you can find all of our podcasts and different things like that. If you want to catch a video version of this podcast, maybe you weren't able to stream it live on Twitch, you can go to youtube.com/apatheticenthusiasm as well, where we post video versions of the show. You can subscribe there. Finally, patreon.com/apathetic enthusiasm, where you can support the show directly, throw a few coins in the old tip jar, get exclusive content like pre-shows and exclusive patron podcast. It's on Random, which a new one will be cropping up sooner or later.
Eventually. Yeah.
All of that available at patreon.com/apathetic enthusiasm. Okay. Formalities out of the way. What do you want to talk about?
Let us begin our bi-monthly, fortnightly discussion. Let us start with, let's talk about Elvira. Let's talk about Cassandra Peterson, the great Elvira. She was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She was one of the biker folks, because she was in the Groundlings along with Paul Rubens, who, as we know, is Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman, yeah.
That's where he developed a character, and that's where she developed a character of Elvira, and they both went on to do great things.
It's also very interesting that both of them pretty much became known as those characters. Like, they're more widely known as those characters than as like the actors that portray them.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. Good point. Yeah, and I think they were both in Pee Wee Herman. One of the early appearances of his character is in Cheech and Chong movies, as hamburger. You want hamburger? Anyway, but this isn't Elvira. I have a sticker on my laptop of Elvira, and really, like, my randomness tonight is just looking around the room and seeing what else we could talk about. Like the Rogue One, I just saw the poster.
Yeah. Well, I do have a few topics that you just
this was a
shotgunned at me.
I was trying to segue.
Were you trying to segue?
I was gonna segue. Yeah, dude. Here's my segue.
Segue starts
now. Okay, I mentioned the Elvira sticker because my laptop is on its side right now. My MacBook is on its side. It is on its side. It's actually vertical now on a stand. And how I had my laptop before was I just had my laptop in front of me, the 15-inch screen, and then above it I had a old TV, like a 33-inch TV that I would HDMI to it, and then like, okay, looking at that screen, and I came to some weird realization. Why don't I just plug my MacBook and it's into a docking station and then buy an actual monitor? And so now my desktop, which used to be so damn cluttery, is now super, well, it's still cluttery, but it's much better, and it's in a much better setup. But the reason I came to this realization was because Christmas happened. Christmas happened. And so I want to talk about Christmas a little bit with you, Travis.
Okay.
Not just about what we got, but what we didn't get.
The birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
We didn't. We got that. Okay. We got that. We got that. Yeah.
We got that. Yeah.
we got that. I was talking to a friend at work, and it's about becoming an adult, and when you get a job and you're making money, that you're like, I don't need people to buy anything for me, because, or not that I don't need people to buy anything for me. I don't need people to buy the expensive things for me, because I will research what I want, right?
So, okay, let's rewind a little bit on this, because I have always been a research what I want type of person. To the extent that as like a kid and a teenager, I had a very detailed Christmas list, because I didn't tell my parents I want a video camera because I'm a budding filmmaker. I was like, I want this brand of Canon video camera that utilizes, this format and has this zoom and all this stuff. I want this camera. I don't care if I don't want anything else. I want this thing. And then when that one thing would show up under the tree, I'd be like ecstatic. I'm like, and over the years, this has continued. And my wife is like a little bit like, well, doesn't that ruin like the surprise of Christmas? Or like, cause like, exactly what you're getting. But for me, it's like, yay, you got exactly what I want. Now I can have the thing that I want, instead of, hey, you got something that's like the thing that I want, but I already did so much research in deciding which one I wanted that you have been unsuccessful in getting the thing that I want.
I'm different from that because my tastes used to be simpler. It was I want a Nintendo, and I want a Nintendo, or I want a Super Nintendo, or I want a Genesis, or I want a TurboGrafx 16. It ended up being like that, right? Like it wasn't I want a computer or I want a fancy camera. I want a bass guitar. Give me a bass guitar. I don't care. Give me a guitar. Like, and then when I started wanting to do more stuff with computers, or when I got my first job, then I was like, well, I'll have the money and then do the things I want to get, the things that I want to get, and then keep surprising me with whatever surprise me with stuff. And then over the years, it's been like, give me things that I didn't know I wanted, because the things I know I want, I'm a bad reaction.
Do you think that makes you harder to shop for?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, it makes me harder.
Okay. Good.
But it also makes me hard to shop for because people in my family know I want some things. They might know I want a monitor, for example.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go out to my Amazon wish list and be like, I want this LG monitor with USB-C, this resolution, et cetera, because I'm like, I mean,
exactly
I can afford
what I did to get the monitor that I'm looking at right now.
We're different. We're different people.
Different people. We're different.
We're different.
Well, and I will say, so you talk about growing up, making money, and being able to buy the things that you specifically want, like whenever you want them. The transition of me being a poor kid with no money to being like a poor teenager with some money to being an employed adult with relatively decent amounts of money, like that transition, especially as a teenager and as a young adult, I had such a scarcity mindset in terms of like I had to work like 3 jobs growing up in Southern California to try and like eat and have a vehicle and have a place to live and maybe take a college class if I could afford it. So I was always like, okay, don't buy myself nice things. Don't really be frugal, I guess, with my money. I'm not saying I'm very financially wise. That's not the case. It just
that's not what we're saying here.
It just created this mindset where I was like, I'm not going to buy myself really nice things. And if I do, I tend to spend a very long time thinking about it before I will pull the trigger to buy something that I want. I have continued to grow in my success and promotions and things like that. I make more money than I did when I first got married, but I also have a wife and 3 kids whom I love, and I want to shower with gifts and the things that they want to have. So they have things, they get things, right? And I often don't buy myself things because I want them to have nice things, right? My wife knows this about me, so she crushes it on Christmas all the time because what I end up doing is I still do the research. I still stew about the things that I want for months and years potentially at times, but those things often just sit in an Amazon wish list, and I just put them there. The wish list is literally called "Gifts for Travis." Wink, wink is what the wish list is called. And I try to vary the price from really cheap things like Rick and Morty trade paperbacks are in there to very expensive things. Never expecting to get them. It really for me is if I'm ever really going to treat myself, what is the thing that I'm going to get, right? But then Christmas rolls around and Sheena like knocks it out of the park. Not only does she get me really nice things, but she like mentally messes me up by making me think that there's like no way she's getting me that thing leading up to it. She doesn't talk about it. She doesn't ask about it. She is a gift-giving ninja. So I am incredibly spoiled on Christmas, but I'm incredibly spoiled with money that I've brought into the household a lot of the time. So it's this weird, cool thing where I have a really extravagant way of buying myself things via my generous wife. So yeah.
Yeah, I am opposite of the scarcity, not opposite of the scarcity mindset. I lived with my parents till I was 18 and a half. Worked at a supermarket from 16 to that point in time, before I switched careers. And then, but I was like, money, woo! And as a kid growing up, every time I get money, for birthday or Christmas or whatever, that my mom would make me put it in a savings account, and I'd never see that money. But we may have talked about this before, but they never explained to me really in a way that stuck why I'm saving this money and why I should save this money. Why am I why do I have money if I'm not allowed to spend it? Because when you're a kid, you're not in debt. You're not trying to pay for bills.
You're not
There's
worried
no
about retirement.
there's no reason as a kid not to spend money, because you get it, and then cool, now let's get rid of it.
Money is for me getting the things that I want, and I
Right.
want things.
And I want things. So when I switched careers, I started making money, and then I'm like, and then credit cards too. Like, woo, credit cards is a thing. Parents will warn me about credit cards, but I'm like, I don't understand why I shouldn't get this now and then pay it off over time. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, spreads it out.
And
What do you
yeah,
mean interest? What?
like, yeah, let me buy a 3D, not 3DS. It wasn't a 3. It was a Game Boy Advance. Like the first thing I bought. I didn't have a TV yet in the dorms, but I had a Game Boy Advance, and then bought a computer, bought a TV. I'm like, oh crap, let's buy a 2004 Chevy S10. Not fully understanding what the payments are like, and then that shit burnt down accidentally, and it was like, woo, thank God, I don't know how I was gonna eat every day. But
I was gonna have to start eating my Chevy S10.
the Chevy S10, it was cooked, so I wouldn't have gotten salmonella from it.
There you go.
And but over time, then I started getting into like, okay, I understand now that I have to pay off bills, and I have to be able to, if I'm going on a road trip, then I have to have so much money to go on this road trip. Otherwise, you're going to end up in Oklahoma City with a bad alternator in the middle of the night, like turning off the lights, letting them recharge briefly, and then turning them back on, so you get about 10 seconds of light at 2 a.m. And you're using the semi truck that's in front of you, its brake lights to guide you where you need to go, because you don't have any money.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, adventures.
Yeah.
So now I'm like that, where I'm like, okay, well, I can if I'm gonna put things in a wish list, then I'm gonna spend a lot of time researching what I want.
Yes.
And because I did that, then I'm like, well, then I'll get it, because I already spent the time, and
Yeah.
I'll do that for me. I don't want to wait now for somebody else to maybe get that for me, because I already know what I want.
Yeah. And I will say there are so many times where I'm like, man, I really think I want this thing. And if I like mention it like 3 times, Sheena's just like, just buy it. We have the money. You want to buy it. You never buy yourself things. And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes I do buy them, but a lot of times I don't. A lot of times I don't.
As an example of things, I will get into an Amazon viewing stagnation, where I'll look at something that I really want, and then spend so long to actually buy it, and then eventually say, no, I guess I don't need this. One of those things is couple of months ago was the Stream Deck, the thing where you press a button, you got some buttons and you could switch scenes. And I looked at it, it was like $150, and I said, I want to get this. And I had the green screen, and I want to get this. No, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no, and I never got it. But great news. One of my best friends, Travis Menard, has had some news for me on Christmas.
Okay, let's talk about the Stream Deck for a minute, because I had the Stream Deck in my Amazon wish list for over a year. And I think I removed it twice from the wish list, where I did that, like, do I want it? Nah. I don't think the utility is there that I really need the Stream Deck. And it's just, I have the Stream Deck Mini. I got the Stream Deck Mini, 6 buttons. That's what I got for Christmas. It is what we are utilizing now for this stream. And for those of you that don't know what a Stream Deck is, it is basically a programmable macro keyboard, right? So it has an LCD screen with clear buttons so that you can program the buttons to look differently. They can do different things. And yeah, so I can now use the Stream Deck for us to change scenes. If, while we're streaming, I hit a button, boom, we're doing something else. If we were playing a game, if we were playing chess, it would be over here, but I don't have that queued up. And I can do other stuff with it. I can adjust our audio. I have macros set up to where I can open up different applications. I can set up like multi-step processes. So there are like 6 different applications and websites that I have open. Anytime that we go to stream, I can now hit one button and it will open all of those things. And then I hit a second button and it arranges all of those things to the correct position on the right screen. It's beautiful. And so I am having fun messing with this. We spent an evening like last week or something just like hanging out and me messing with stuff, and then you like feeding me suggestions and trying to figure out different ways to automate stuff. It's one of those things that I could easily continue streaming without it, but the potential and the utility for having it, I feel like is really going to pay off. So even though I was like really on that edge of like, I don't need a Stream Deck, I'm just going to remove it from my Amazon wish list again. And then I think it was my mother-in-law that bought it for me, and she's like, yeah, that seems like a cool thing, because that's the other thing, is nobody ever knows what the things are on my wish list. They're just like, Rick and Morty art book, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, get him that, sure, whatever. If it makes him happy, sure. It's cool. I really like it, and I'm already like thinking, do I trade up? Do I try to get the 15 button one, like the regular Stream Deck? Because there's just so many cool things you can do with it.
Yeah, that you told me about that, and because I'm that type of person. I'm like, oh yeah, I want one too now. So then I went looking for it, and I'm back to that. I'm back to that mode of
Well, I'll say this, because if you're not a streamer, you're probably like, why would I ever need a Stream Deck? But like, we have all become masters of Zoom, right? Like 2020 has made everybody some form of like video teleconference, familiarity. And I can program a whole set of buttons just to operate Zoom, so that I have a physical button for muting myself or turning off my video. I can have a button for leaving a meeting, a button for recording, another one for just bringing it to focus, like making it the topmost window so that if I'm doing other things, I can bring it up. There's a screen sharing button, like stuff like that. So you can, there are so many plugins and things for it too, where you can really, I have a whole page on it because you can build folders on it. You're not limited to just 6 buttons. You can create a folder as a button that will then, tree down into an infinite number of possibilities of buttons. So I have almost like a whole bookmarks bar where I can open up different websites at a push of a button and stuff. It's pretty cool, guys. It's pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. Back what is it, March? I did Podfest. I did that speech for Podfest, and I did what I did was I went into the streaming software of OBS. I made custom overlays to where I put myself in different scenes, like in the background, and in with things in the foreground, and then be things in the background, and have it be more of a dynamic kind of presentation over Zoom. And I did all in OBS. And what I did was, like, to switch a scene, I'd press the first scene, press 1. Then I do my speech. Okay, next scene, I press 2, press 3, and so on and so forth. And after I saw the Stream Deck thing, I found this other thing called Touch Portal, which interacts with it. It's very similar to Stream Deck. I was like, oh crap, I could have just pressed a button here and it would have done everything I needed it to do. And it's not like single tasks either. Travis mentioned moving all the things around. Like, you press one button, it moves everything around, it opens up all these screens, and it might also open up OBS to a specific scene with the mic muted in that scene. And then he presses a button, maybe it moves all the windows around again, and then unmutes that scene, but also starts a video playing in the it has the power to do a whole slew of automation. And then also, like, if he presses that button, say like this button is like, he programs it to say, oh, Twitch, go live. That's the name of the button. It opens all these windows, opens up Twitch, starts the stream immediately, but then it might be tied into Twitter and Facebook with an automated message saying, blah, 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 streaming now. There's so much power in the automation. I just love it. And so I'm jealous of that.
I'm glad I could be a source of jealousy for you. Honestly, as we were doing this episode, I'm looking at my different scene buttons and realizing that certain scenes we should be muted for. If we're doing like the take a break one, we should be muted. So I'm already like in my head thinking like, oh, I need to edit that button so that when I press it, it also mutes these mics and puts it. So when that's great.
Yeah, when I was setting up for Touch Portal, just screwing around on my side, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Well, this is my countdown screen. I press it, it automatically mutes all the inputs to it, with the exception of song playing. And like, okay, now I press the next button. It's like the movie screen is in this, and then a smaller version of me automatically unmutes, right? And then press the button again, it mutes. If I'm like to the be right back screen.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I need to also, I have like less than 24 hours to program macros for when we play D&D, because I'm totally going to set up dice rolls on it so that when I have to roll certain attacks or whatever, I can just hit a button. I wonder if I could program my wizard spells to a set of buttons. That seems like it should be possible.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to. Really, what you do, I'm sure in Stream Deck you can record mouse clicks, right, for Windows.
I think so. Yeah.
So if we have Foundry VTT up, then you record the mouse clicks to get to whatever spell you want to use, and then that becomes the button that you want to, for example, or just whatever the actual macro for that spell is.
Yeah, I think I can actually program like a web source. If that macro has like some sort of link, I might be able to do that. Cool. We can buy followers now. Thanks.
Hey,
thanks,
Zune Wells
Nobody click that link.
197-465. Please do not. Especially since it's Big Follows Space.com. You know, you can't have that space. It messes up the link, you know.
Yeah, it's no good. All right. Any other notable gifts that you received this Christmas?
So I did that Elvira sticker I got from Chelsea. I got some socks from her as well. They are from Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the Silver Shamrock. Sorry, you got to see it to know what I'm actually talking about. Got a big sheet, but it's like a tapestry of classic records, classic albums. We were just talking about records a couple weeks ago, but it's classic records like Pet Sounds and Abbey Road. There are images of the records on the side of them. It's a big ass tapestry. So whenever we get to our next house, we'll put that up. That's pretty cool. My mom got me a Vans shirt, which was awesome. But she also got me and my son these mini drones, and these mini drones are there's a ball, right, and the ball has a sensor on the bottom, and on top there are 2 spinning blades, and they're not in anything. They're not enclosed in anything. Ooh. They're just these 2 spinning blades, and the way this works is you turn it on, and then it starts, and then flies up. You put your hand under it, and then it wants to fly up again, and so it's kind of like but in order to get it to stop, it has to go in your hand. So essentially, what happens is like the ball's coming down, and you go up to grab it, and it goes. Like, oh god, but they're open spinning blades, plastic blades. So you have to judge it so you don't slash your wrist.
Snatch it out of the air.
Yes, it's very, 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 very perilous. My son is 9. It says ages like 7 and up, and like there's no way I would let a 7-year-old, let alone my 9-year-old, mess with it, because it'll probably kill him. It'll probably kill him.
Yeah. Death,
but anyways,
blood everywhere. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Other notable gifts for me, I got the trade paperback for Rick and Morty vs. Dungeons and Dragons Volume 2. So I'm excited to read through that. My loving mother, who is in full support of my streaming habits, got me a green screen that it's a pop-up green screen. Well, actually,
it looks great.
Yeah, it looks real. Hold on a second.
Okay. While Travis is telling me to hold on a second, what he's doing and describing it to the podcast users, he's lifting up his green screen.
There's a green screen. It's behind me. It's not centered. I'd have to move my camera a little bit, but I have a green screen now that just stays up. So I'm gonna buy some better lights so that it works in more situations. But I could be on the beach with Brandon now if I want to be.
I can recommend some good lights for you.
And then it just goes. I love that it just stays at whatever height you put it at. But
yeah, that's right. That was another one of those purchases before I got this green screen where I was like, I think that's something I want, and I back and forth, and it was before the Podfest thing, so I'm like, I'll just get this one. It's probably good enough. This one is good, but it's cropped up. If I move back just barely, you see the shadow already.
Yeah.
It's not as good as it's not as big as I want it to be. You need like the photography studio green screen where it like covers everything and covers angles.
Yeah. Oh, I was my turn to talk just as I was about to burp. You're welcome, everybody. Yeah, those are some pretty outstanding gifts. I got some new headphones. I got matching cans, matching headphones. I'm back on the Sony Studio headphones again. My last pair I wore out, So now we have the matching headphones, matching mics, matching headphones. We're regular professionals here, guys. And lots of other cool stuff. Appreciate our families for, loving us and buying us cool things. If you got any really awesome gifts that you'd like to share or recommend, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah.
Send us an email. Send us a tweet. Let us know the cool things that you guys got. All right, Brandon. Moving on.
I just rolled my eyes. Have a good day. Face is in. He says you should come to my studio where the entire huge wall is a green Wakreen.
Green Queen.
Green with green. Steve with green. Matt is a newscaster, so if they don't have, basically nothing is real in the studio. The only thing real in the studio is maybe the desk they stand in front of, if that.
Maybe.
Maybe. I want to ask you something about the difference between Christmas and New Year's, as far as your emotion. I guess I'll say your emotion.
My emotion for Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah. Which holiday is more more emotionally powerful to you, I guess, or like which holiday gives you like uplifts your spirit more?
Christmas. 100% Christmas.
100%.
And mostly it's like because I'm a dad and I'm like a sap, like my kids and like the joy that they have on Christmas and the things that they get excited about, and just like a lot of the traditions that just my immediate family has created. Like we eat cinnamon rolls like every Christmas morning. It's expected now. Like my kids look forward to it. They're homemade cinnamon rolls. We have those like while we're opening presents, and then we have chorizo for like a brunch, right? And that's like a tradition. Both my wife and I grew up having that in our own homes, and then that's something her dad always made on Christmas, and that's something that we just do with our family. And then we just like hang out, and like the house is destroyed because there's like trash and presents everywhere, and my son is like opening one toy and playing with it for like 5 minutes and then just leaving it right there and going and opening a Lego set and building like the first 3 steps and then going and doing something else. But I don't know, it's just fun to just kind of relax, and sometimes I'll watch some basketball. Sometimes this year we watched 2 different movies because streaming was the way to go this year. So yeah, and then for me, like I've never been a huge party guy in terms of like getting trashed and going out with like a lot of people. So New Year's, while I really enjoy New Year's in like a small intimate setting, it's just I don't know, the emotions for me don't run as high with New Year's. So for me, it's for New Year's, for me it's more just about like time to celebrate the year that was, the opportunities ahead, and drink some champagne that I'm not crazy about.
Just drink, brute, and you're like, oh, why? I don't. Well, is extra dry sweeter? I don't even know. Yeah, the reason I ask is this year I think I came to the realization, the understanding of myself that I like New Year's. Not that I like New Year's better, but I think New Year's somehow sticks out to me as a more emotionally weighted holiday for me, and I think it's because Christmas is one thing where when I left home and I was by myself, I could call Christmas and I'm like, call home for Christmas to talk to my grandparents, my parents, my aunts and uncles, and they'd be doing their things, but people would be opening presents, and it's very, very, very family oriented. And then it gets to New Year's, and I would call my family again, or I'd be with friends, and I'd be with people, and I'd be hanging out with people, and I would call Matt who's in the chat, and I'd be like, just drunk, and we're like, hey, oh, he'd be doing something out in Los Angeles at the time, just going crazy, and it'd be such a happy thing. And then the Twilight Zone marathon would be in the background of wherever I was, and it was just always like, as an introvert, it was always the time where I'm like, I'm happy to be around and know people, and it's exciting to be around people. This year, I watched the Twilight Zone marathon on both on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. My son, my 9-year-old, watched a lot of it with me, and he doesn't like black and white stuff, but he still watched a lot of it with me, which was, I thought he would go away, but he wouldn't. He would come in and hang out with me.
Keep watching it. Yeah.
We played chess, and I used to play games with my dad and my brothers on New Year's Eve, and like that was a thing. We played this game that we got for Christmas. It's the Haunted Mansion board game,
Yes.
which is pretty fun. And then Chelsea and I, we put a sheet on the ceiling. We blew up a bunch of balloons, and then when it got down to midnight, then we released the balloons into our living room. I spent like $100 at the fireworks place, and leading up to midnight, every hour we like light fireworks off, which we won't be able to do in California when I go there. But whereas Christmas is relaxing and it's you're with your family, like New Year's is a celebration, and I got to the point where I'm like, oh, I feel something. I like New Year's better.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because it's so dang cold where I'm at, but like it's legal in Nebraska to do fireworks on New Year's, but people blow their whole wad on 4th of July, and then it's like 20 degrees or whatever. It snowed a lot this year, so it was just like, yeah, I don't want to go outside. I want to be inside where it's warm, and we'll play Unstable Unicorns, and it just it was also we'll watch countdowns or whatever, and then hang out, eat lots of snacks, eat way too many jalapeno poppers.
Yeah, so delicious. I have some hot wings in the fridge. I'll probably eat at midnight tonight. I spent $100 on fireworks. Let me just side note. In the clerk at the counter said that we haven't really gotten all the good ones. We usually get the good ones from the Chinese, but it's so hard to get them from the Chinese right now, which because of the pandemic, which it's their fault anyway. So I don't even know. So I was like, yeah, cool, bro. Just give me my 2-for-1 that I'm doing. But yeah, $100, and I didn't get any good ones really. I got like some crappy mortar ones and a bunch of bottle rockets. And there were out here in Florida, there were just nonstop fireworks, nonstop for a couple days. And I just like, how many thousands, easily hundreds of thousands of dollars of fireworks that are just going on around the state of Florida constantly. It's just it boggles my mind just how much money people put into this type of stuff.
Yeah, 4th of July in Nebraska was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Growing up in California, you couldn't do your own fireworks. It had to be, officially sanctioned fireworks displays. And then even some of the other places I've lived, either the city itself didn't allow fireworks, like where you could shoot your own fireworks, or, like Hawaii, you couldn't do it yourself. Yeah, in most places. So when I moved here, I was shocked that on the 4th of July, people just turned their driveways into KGB Sky Show from 1015 KGB San Diego. That's a big fireworks display down there. this last year, and I think the pandemic had something to do with it because everybody was like cooped up at home anyway. They're like, the heck with it. I'm blowing $1,000 on fireworks and we are lighting this neighborhood up. It was like a war zone in my neighborhood. Fireworks going off like crazy. I know for a fact that people that live across from me, their family spent about $1,000 on fireworks. I think they had a couple people bring fireworks, and it was like about $1,500 worth of fireworks. It was insane. Like the types, and there's a company in Nebraska that like makes fireworks, so they have all kinds of like, they'll have boxes that's just like a huge box where you light one fuse, and it does like a multi-stage show, like out of a box, and that stuff is crazy. That is something I think I will miss. I never fully appreciated, I think, 4th of July the way I did watching people just risk their fingers and eyes to blow stuff up in their driveways and neighborhoods. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But anyway. Holidays are fun, but the holidays are over. I mean, we got Martin Luther King Day coming up. Let's do it up. Let's celebrate.
Yeah. I did get the family Walt Disney World 4-day passes. I've been here in Tampa for 3 years now, and I have not been to Walt Disney World once.
Yeah, you can see the beach, the beaches of Tampa behind Brandon right now on the live stream. So
we are moving from Tampa here in a couple months, and so I don't really want to go into that many folks to go to Disney, but like it's also something I have to experience while I'm here because the family and I don't plan on coming back to Florida after we leave. So yeah, we bought tickets and we're gonna make that trip. So I just want to throw that out there as something we got ourselves for.
I cannot wait to talk to you about the trip, talk to you while you're on the trip, talk to you after, before. I don't know. I'm excited. My family is dying for another Disney vacation. Dying. We'll be fine without one. But my plan was to do Disneyland in California in 2021. Who knows? Maybe the park will be reopened sometime this year. But currently that is not a guarantee. So we'll see. That trip will probably be delayed a little bit longer. So
yeah. In other news, I did finally buy Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
You have not yet purchased your Xbox Series X. Not for lack of trying.
Not for lack of trying. No, that's true.
So you purchased Cyberpunk for your Xbox One. How's it going?
For me, it's only crashed once.
Okay.
Of an hour's worth of playtime. No, it's only crashed once, and it was after a couple hours, and I was prepared for it to crash, so I save a lot, just preemptively. I'm not too far into the story. I haven't met Keanu yet. That shows you how far into the story I am.
Okay. Yeah,
AKA,
I feel like you haven't started the game yet then.
Basically, what happened when I went in, I picked my character. I did like the initial stuff. I'm a corpo. That's what I picked.
Oh, okay.
And
I think I went corpo too.
Okay, yeah, and Matt went corpo. I was just talking to
3 corpos. Let's go.
No, nobody wants to start off as a side note about humble beginnings in games where you could pick like your background. Normally, I start off with a character of humble beginnings, but for some reason, this game, I'm like, no, I don't want to start off with humble beginnings. Like, this is a cyber world where corporations own cities and spy on each other and do all this
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't want to be out in the fringe areas of the city, like living in
Yeah.
trailers.
I
I
don't
want
I
to
don't
be in the middle of the cyberpunk action.
I don't want to be in Borderlands. I want to be in the Shadowrun piece of the world where the cool shit is happening.
Right.
Uh, so I wanted to be in the know, and so I picked Corpo. Okay.
So you, when I first asked you, you're like, I went with like the rich faction or whatever, which is not corpos. They're like somebody else. Like, because there's corpos that like work for corporations, and then there's like the really like the elites of the city that like are like the ultra wealthy or whatever. I thought that's the faction that you went with.
What are the three factions? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got it wrong.
Who am I to play God? Factions in Cyberpunk 2077. That's more things. There's all the mega corporations.
Oh God, yeah! Don't get to the tabletop role playing
Jeez.
or site for it. Matt might know. There's like, I thought there's only three. One is like on like the outskirts. One is like the people inside the city, but not in the corporations. And then there was the elite folks: Corpo, Nomad, and Sherman Hemsley.
Corporate, Nomad, and Street Kid. Yeah. So I guess is corporate I guess that is the.
Mm-hmm. Because you, with the corporate, you start off like throwing up in a sink,
Yeah.
in a skyscraper.
That does happen.
And then you get all your shit removed, right? So you start at the top, but then
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I guess I guess I just remembered it differently. But yeah, because I definitely picked Corpo as well.
the Corpo Corpse. That's what we are. Corpo Core Corpse.
The
Stupid.
weird thing is I've been playing so much that I've got like ins with all of these different groups now, and I could basically pick which one I want to end up with. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Obviously, so I'm not that far because one, I'm like exploring everything, because I don't want to get too deep into anything because I don't want it to crash on me, and doing like some side quests that like are just like pop, like just to see what it's about.
I would encourage you to at least get the point where you've met Keanu Reeves and gotten to know him, and that I kind of was on rails through to that point, and then I started like doing a bunch of side quests because I was like, I don't want to get too deep into the game and then not be able to do side quests. And so I like did tons of side quests and then realized like I don't think I'm very far in the actual game like at all. And I still don't know that I'm that far in the game. I think I might be further in the game. Matt in the chat talking about Pan Am with 3 hearts, which if you are a cis male version of V, then that is your only love interest in the game, apparently. I've continued to do missions with her. So here's what I will say about that I've learned about Cyberpunk. They put very adult scenes in the game and do not give you warning that they're happening. Like, you're like, hey, I'm going to go, on this mission real quick. And then all of a sudden your character is having sex. Like first person sex scene. And I'm like, this went in a completely different direction than I thought this mission was going to be about. All right. Okay. Matt, I'm sure Matt knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a sequence with Panem that I was like, oh, cool, I'm driving a tank. And then I was like, wow, This went in a completely different direction.
All right, good. Yeah, I'll watch out for when my kid's in the room watching me play.
Yeah, this is not a game I play around my children.
Yeah. One of the side quests the first side quest I did in the main city was just the yellow exclamation point. I picked up this guy, and he's like, oh God, help me. And I get out of my car and I walk up to him. He's like, I need to be taken to a ripper or whatever those doctors are called.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, and he's like holding his dick, and he's like, and I'm like, what's the problem? He's like, it's malfunctioning. My cyber dick basically is malfunctioning. And so he's like, I need to get to a doctor. And so I drive him to the doctor, and I'm berating him as I'm driving him. My character is berating him while I was driving him. Like, why do you need a cyber dick, dude? And he's just, I get him to the doctor, and then I have to wait for him to get fixed up. And after he gets fixed up, again, V, the main character, is just like, look, you learned your lesson. Did you at least make sure it's not defective this time before you go out fucking something, right? And I'm like, this is the first thing I'm doing.
This is my first mission.
This is my first mission. And what's interesting about it is I talked to Matt about that this morning and he's like, I've done so many side quests, and I've never done that one.
Nope, I have not seen that. Yeah.
So it's crazy that even though we are all corpo, we're part of the corpo core, that we have different experiences playing. And so despite graphics and bugs and all that type of stuff, it is a good game, even in a couple hours that I've played it.
Yeah, I really want you to get further in the main storyline so we can talk about that. I am in a weird sort of decision point. I haven't played the game in almost a week, but I feel like I need to lean in to the main storyline. I've done like 2 major portions of the main storyline in the last couple sessions that I've played, and I'm like, do I need to just like play through and like beat the game with this version of V and then re-roll a new character and play it again with like different choices and see what like the replay value is and stuff like that? Because there is so much in the game that I could probably play it again with a different type of character and get a lot of different interactions, unlock potentially a different ending, and still have a very robust like game because of all of the extra material that's packed into it, where I could do different side quests and things and still level up that character and probably have a good time.
Yeah. What I wonder now, having played the game just a little bit, is with as many RPG elements as there are, and eventually there will be a Cyberpunk 2077 online, what that actually looks like and what that'll actually end up being, right? Obviously it's getting released a year later, but I wonder how that plays out. I hope it's not like Mass Effect, where they just like had versus modes, right? Like I don't want a versus mode on things.
Yeah.
Whether it's like it'll probably be like co-op heisting or stuff like that, which Matt and I both love.
Yeah, and the game leans heavily on aspects of stealth, and there are so many like heist type missions where you're trying to break in somewhere, you're trying to do some sort of gig. I can see co-op gigs and things like that being a thing. I mean, really the beginning storyline kind of lends itself to that when you're working with a partner and stuff like that.
With Jackie.
Yeah, and so I think you could easily, I say easily, apparently nothing has been easy with this game. I think that you could logically develop missions that could be done with 2 people, up the difficulty a little bit, things like that. Um, yeah, I mean that could be a thing. Add different types of locations. I don't know. Is there value in the game of like opening your own store or opening your own like booth at the flea market and like trading goods or doing things like that? Like how robust do they want the game to get? Because really the game is super story driven. And
So when co-op comes out, first thing Brennan and I are doing is double teaming Panem. That's funny.
as a transhumanist, but I feel like these characters are out there in real life because I Uber from time to time. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Uber Eats, Grubhub, Neighborhood. Is that Neighborhood something? I don't
Uber
know.
neighborhood. What?
Yeah, there's a
Postmates?
I forget what the Postmates. Yeah. I have Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm craving them. I'm craving it. Okay. I think I don't really have anything else to say other than Matt and I bought. We've been playing Civ 6, and there's so much time that we put into the Civilization series. Him and I, between on the Xbox One, and we bought the expansion. I forget what it's called, like the Coming Storm or something like that. And what it does is it adds like climate change and natural disasters and stuff like that to the Civilization, and also like a World Congress and all that type of stuff. And it's so fun. Him and I this last week, Monday through Wednesday, we started a new game and we were playing it. And it's like, oh no, Sunday. We started Sunday, and every day we're like, okay, one more turn. I gotta go to bed. Gotta go to bed. Gotta go to work in the morning. Okay, well maybe like just like two more turns. I gotta like Shaka is after me, so I want to make sure I start the war and I'm defended before I go to bed. And then he does the two turns, and then I'm like, okay, can we just like do like two more turns? I want to make sure I finish this wonder. And then it's by that point in time it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours past our bedtime. And then the very next morning, since we say oh to each other every morning, like let's not do that again. And then we do
and
it
then
again.
you repeat the process the next day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day. And last night we haven't played the last two nights, but last night I went to bed a little bit early, and I woke up today exhausted. And I just don't understand that. I don't understand how I can go to bed to get extra sleep, and I'm so much worse for wear.
It's your
Why is it, Travis?
circadian rhythm or something? I don't know. I don't know.
I lucid dreaming. You've lucid dreamed. Have you lucid dreamed? Can you lucid dream?
I'm not an expert at it. I'm not even amateur at it. I am fascinated by the concept of lucid dreaming, but I've never really been able to do it. So I there have been a couple times where I've like realized I'm dreaming, but I've never like been a fully lucid dreamer. No.
Okay.
It's something I thought about practicing, but I just got busy.
I don't remember the concept, or sorry, the context from why I started thinking about that this last week, but I woke up in the morning on maybe like Wednesday, Thursday, and I woke up thinking about lucid dreaming, and for some reason I looked it up right away. I don't know. There's a story behind it, but one of the things I saw in like my days was that in order to lucid dream, like there's a method of like waking up and then going back to sleep, like waking up like for a couple minutes, then going back to sleep for a while, and that makes it more likely for you to lucid dream, because like slipping back into REM so quickly from that like helps dream more or something like that. And then another like part of that is you question whether or not you're awake all day, like in your waking hours.
Yeah,
You're like,
constantly asking yourself
am
whether
I
or
awake
not
right
you're
now?
dreaming. Am I
Am
dreaming?
I dreaming right now?
Am I dreaming right now? Yeah, because if you do that and that becomes a natural thing for you to do during your waking days, then the odds of you thinking about that notion while you're dreaming are more likely. And then if you actually are dreaming when you do it, then you might be able to realize you're dreaming and then shift into a lucid state.
I think that's why all my nightmares in the last year have turned into non-nightmares, because I'm like, well, this shit can't be real. Vampires aren't real. I know vampires aren't real. If they're not real, then I can do anything. Which is why when the zombies were chasing after me in the mall in one of my dreams,
It's fascinating to me that you have nightmares with actual monsters in them.
yeah,
I don't know the last time I had a nightmare, but I don't watch a fraction of the horror movies that you do. So
true that. But the zombies were chasing after me out of the mall. I got behind a fence. And I was taking care of Chelsea and my son, and then I was like, I know what to do. When I realized it was a dream and I couldn't, like, I was fighting it, I lifted up in the air and I started singing Jock Jams 96. and then all the zombie monsters started dancing with it, and I started floating. It was like, pump up the jam, pump it up. And there was like,
that is incredible. That is awesome. I feel like I hardly even remember dreaming a lot of the time, unfortunately. So I don't know. Maybe it's too much caffeine or something. I don't know.
That maybe that's a part of it too. Is I make an effort whenever I dream now to, like, wake up and think about it and then try to repeat it. So I know that it's a thing, and maybe, like, train myself to remember things. And if I remember dreams, then I know what they feel like, and then I'm more likely to experience. I'm gonna really work on lucid dreaming.
All right. Well, we'll have to have a much more in-depth conversation about dreaming and lucid dreamings in a future episode. But for now, if you're on the audio version of the podcast, this is where we leave you. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for downloading. We love you. You're amazing. If you are watching live on Twitch, then we are headed into our Twitch-only post-show. If you want to catch the second part of the show, you can only catch it live on Twitch. So that means following us. Follow us on twitch.tv/apatheticenthusiasm, or follow us on our social media @apathusiast to know when we go live, because nights like tonight, it's not Monday. This is a special stream, right? But you can usually catch us Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to go do that. We're gonna go do our post show. Everybody else, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit bells, thumbs up, all that crap. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm Travis,
and I'm Brandon, and thank you for listening to us Babylon. See you in your dreams, motherfucker.